Hey, I'm Rachel.
And I'm Amanda.
I'm Hannah.
And I'm Kathleen.
And this is the Federal Election Edition of Beyond a Ballot, powered by DoorDash.
It is E-31, just 31 days until voting day. I'm Hannah Thibodeau. Welcome to your Friday fix of Beyond a Ballot. What a week, what a day. Get your political popcorn ready. A call with the president, premiers popping up, and other campaigns simply doing everything they can to break through the Donald Trump noise. We have to start with Mark Carney because he kept his prime minister's hat firmly on today, dealing with Donald Trump. Amanda Alvaro, how did that phone call shake up the campaign?
So again, he was sort of off the campaign trail and in the prime minister's chair, as you've said, also taking a meeting with the premiers today. What I thought was most fascinating about what we've learned from the call was President Trump's tweet that followed. And that was that I just finished speaking with Prime Minister Mark Carney of Canada. It was an extremely productive call. We agree on many things and we'll be meeting immediately after Canada's upcoming election to work on elements of politics, business, and all other factors that will end up being great for both the United States of America and Canada. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Whoa.
Pause.
Hold on. There was no nastiness in that.
There was no, I don't know how you absorb information like this, because we know that President Trump can say one thing one moment and then say something entirely different the next, but there was no Governor of Canada reference. There was no 51st state reference. And again, it's a little bit like fingers crossed that this means something promising to come, but is the first sign of, I would say, respect coming from the president when dealing with a Canadian elected official. So that could be a good sign.
Rachel Siegel, it feels like every time conservative leader Pierre Poilievre tries to get the spotlight, Trump crashes the stage. However, today in Nanaimo, Poilievre pledging life sentences for gun smuggling and fentanyl traffickers.
Yeah, in British Columbia, in my neck of the woods. Why is Trump so aligned to Carney on this? This is what I can't figure out. I mean, we spend our lives trying to decode whatever Donald Trump has to say, but I don't think anyone was expecting a tweet like that. And I can't figure out why he likes Carney so much. But I'm sure that will unfold more in the coming weeks. Like you said, we're only 33 days away, and I'm sure Trump will have a lot more impact on this campaign as we go through it. In terms of Pierre,
wait,
yes.
Don't you add days to this campaign?
Did I say 33? Oh,
you
God.
did.
I don't even know what month it is
my
anymore.
friend.
I feel like we've lived 5. I can't believe it's the first week, honestly. Okay.
Sorry,
Pierre,
Rachel.
No worries. Okay. He's in BC today. Tonight, he's going to be ending off in the great province of Manitoba. He's off to Winnipeg. But yes, he was talking about tough on crime policies. And so one of those policies being that he wants to impose a life sentence on anyone who is convicted of 5 or more counts of human trafficking, illegal firearms, or having possession of 10 or more, or fentanyl trafficking. Why was this an important conversation to have in British Columbia? 21,000 British Columbians have died of fentanyl overdoses since it was declared a health emergency in this province. Everybody in British Columbia knows somebody that's been affected by this crisis. And so having those tough on crime policies announced in this province was a very important thing for the campaign. I will also say that the human trafficking policy, this is something when I was a reporter in Toronto, I used to go to a lot of events to learn about this. And 94% of those trafficked in Canada are women. So for our audience, this is definitely a gendered policy, and it's something that's super important. So tough on crime today for Poilievre.
Kathleen Monk, over to NDP leader Jagmeet Singh, who is in Toronto, making an announcement to address the rising housing costs. Everybody's paying attention to the rising housing costs.
Yeah, and particularly with focus, Jagmeet Singh and New Democrats approach the housing issue really differently than the two other parties. So what you've seen from the two other parties is, they're going to cut the GST off houses, whether you're a first-time buyer or not if they're over, around $1 million. You know what I mean? Lots of people in Canada can't afford a house that's $1 million. So whether the GST is on it or not, it's just not attainable. There's lots of folks in our country that are still renters, or looking for breaks at the much lower than the $1 million bucks level. And so Jagmeet Singh was in Toronto again. If you remember earlier in the week, I had talked to you about a housing announcement where he had a woman named Erin Selby. And she was back out today with a great candidate in Toronto Danforth named Claire Haskell, who's just a firecracker of a candidate, has been canvassing in Toronto for over 2 years. And they were talking about, hey, why is it fair that we're giving corporate landlords, easy access loans from the government with better interest rates that most Canadians can buy? How come we're selling off, allowing them to buy up all the affordable apartment buildings in our urban centers? So he was saying if a new Democrat government came across, what they would do is when there is an affordable building that is existing build in the downtown core, let's make sure that nonprofits have access to that building. So nonprofits could hold it so it could stay affordable for life. So you're not faced with this reality of a corporate landlord coming in, buying up that house, basically flipping the apartment, and then all of a sudden the rent's unaffordable and things aren't being taken care of. So a really targeted announcement in Toronto being that battleground that all the parties are in, but looking at the housing and affordability issue for maybe those who, are not making over $250 a year, $250,000. So looking at a different demographic and trying to say that, hey, Jagmeet's there for you.
Campaign call out time. Rachel, I am going to you first on this Friday.
Oh, I have a spicy one.
I can't wait.
So do I.
And it's the same one I gave yesterday. That's to Mark Carney for successfully avoiding the campaign trail for 2 to 3 days of this election that he himself was the one to call. So Mark Carney, a lot of Canadians are asking who he is. He has been able to avoid questions about his campaign and a fourth term for the Liberals successfully for the last 2 days. So I'll give that to Mark Carney.
Since Kathleen has a spicy one, I'm going to Miss Spicy next, Kathleen Monk.
Well, I've got a campaign call out to my TV work husband, a gentleman by the name of Corey Tonight. So Corey Tonight is a well-known campaign strategist, like all of us are.
We're all laughing.
Amanda's like,
Hi, Corey.
But Corey, as you may know, has won campaigns for Harper, also obviously Doug Ford, most recently 3-term winner. But I was on a panel with him just in Wednesday night in Toronto. I spoke to you guys earlier in the day before we did that panel. Mm-hmm. And who knew how hot and spicy it was going to get? Well, basically, as Bob Fife said, Corey Tonight that night on the Empire Club panel, also with Seamus O'Regan, who was the Liberal at the time, backed up a truck with gasoline and basically lit the whole Conservative campaign on fire. That quote goes to Bob Fife of the Globe and Mail, not mine. But he has basically, in the last 36 hours, taken a machete to the campaign of the Conservatives, called out all of their, failings, how they've dropped 25 points, how they've failed to pivot. It was just remarkable. As a partisan myself, as a New Democrat partisan, I can't imagine unloading like Corey did on my own party.
Oh,
but
Tom Mulcair?
Well, Tom Mulcair is not really part of my party, but you're right. Good call out.
Sorry, I'm not supposed to get a call out.
But yeah, so it was just really remarkable. From everyone across party is texting me today saying, wow, that panel you did on Wednesday night, it was crazy. And it's just generated so much news. And for so early in the campaign, for Conservative infighting like this to happen, I mean, I was even hearing rumors that maybe the campaign manager might be replaced. They've been dismissed. But like, it is, I would not want to be in the Conservative war room right now.
Okay, Amanda Alvaro, campaign call out.
Okay, so Kathleen, you took mine. It's okay.
My work husband.
I can.
It is her work husband.
Fair.
He's my former boss.
So I'll use my time to do a rebuttal, which is always fun.
Fair enough.
And that'll be for my very favorite Conservative, Rachel. I love, but you're falling into the trap the Conservatives fall into. And that is create these, these little slogans and scandals that don't really exist. It's like, why wasn't Carney on the campaign trail? Because he was being the prime minister of the country. Because when Trump decided to impose his debilitating 25% tariffs on the auto industry, somebody had to act like the grown up, somebody had to act like the leader and stand up for Canadians. It's an unfortunate thing. And I think part and parcel of what Corey said, so I'll merge these two together now, was that Poilievre's temptation is to keep talking about things that he was talking about months ago. Canadians want us to be talking about what's right in front of them, the concerns with tariffs, the concerns with the economy, how we're going to defend ourselves against the United States and these tariffs, and how we're going to protect our jobs and the economy. And Carney has captured that right from the beginning. He understands how important it is, and he understands why he needs to be talking about the issues that Canadians are calling the most important to them right now.
Okay, thanks for hanging out with us. Tomorrow, we dive into crowds at rallies, not literally, but yes. Do big turnouts actually mean big votes? Is size everything? Tune in to Beyond a Ballot.
Thank you for listening. New episodes come out daily, and you can find Beyond a Ballot on Instagram and wherever you find your podcasts. A huge thank you to our title sponsor, DoorDash, and sponsors Equal Voice, Page, and Canada Powered by Women for making this election special possible. Speak to you tomorrow.